Hey there, all you fright fiends. Welcome back to Crypt Finder. So, the movie tonight, The Dead Don't Die. This was a 1975 made-for-TV movie. This was directed by Curtis Harrington. I've sort of touched on him already a little bit because in 1978, he directed another fright flick called Devil Dog, The Hounds of Hell. Thank you very much. And this script was penned by Robert Bloch. It was based on his original story, first published in 1951 in Fantastic Adventures. Bloch was, of course, very well renowned because he wrote the novel Psycho, on which Alfred Hitchcock based his classic film. So there is another movie called The Dead Don't Die with Adam Driver from 2019. That is a horror comedy. This one stars the eternally tan George Hamilton, and this was first broadcast on NBC January 14th, 1975. Sort of interesting for a made-for-TV movie to be a period piece, but this one is. It's actually set in 1934 in Chicago, and the story follows Don Drake, who's played by George Hamilton. He's a sailor who returns to port and learns his brother Ralph was convicted of murdering his wife Frances. Don promises Ralph he will try to learn what happened to his sister-in-law, and then Ralph unfortunately goes to the electric chair, and Don begins his investigation to clear his brother's name. His investigation leads him to the Loveland Ballroom, where Ralph had participated in a dance marathon managed by the owner, Jim Moss, who's played by Ray Milland. Now, even in the mid-1970s, dance marathons were a thing of the distant past, and so today it's going to seem just downright wacky, but yes, in the 1920s and the 1930s, people would just dance themselves into complete exhaustion in an attempt to win prizes and money for being the last couple still barely on their feet and near collapse. In fact, many people did collapse, and they had to be actually just carried off the dance floor and attended to by nurses. And times were tough, so people did some really awful things to try and earn money. As Don delves even deeper into this investigation, some unsettling events begin to transpire. He has sightings of his supposedly deceased brother, a man named Perdido, who returns from the dead after being killed, and there are whispers of a mysterious figure named Varick. These events draw Don into a world of Haitian voodoo. The mysterious Varick is a voodoo master controlling an army of zombies, including Don's brother. The Dead Don't Die distinguishes itself because it kind of reverts back to the normal sort of trope of that zombies are just mindless slaves controlled by a voodoo master versus the sort of flesh-eating zombies that became very popular after George Romero's 1968 film Night of the Living Dead. Despite its atmospheric setting and homage to 1930s horror, this film pretty much falls flat. Critics at the time noted that while the premise was intriguing, the execution didn't always live up, pointing to George Hamilton's performance as lacking a lot of depth. Nevertheless, the film has garnered a cult following over the years, appreciated for its noir aesthetics and then the unique take on the zombie genre. Its blend of mystery, horror, and period drama offers a nostalgic glimpse into 1970s television filmmaking. So you've got to give the filmmakers credit for trying to take sort of the 1930s crime noir and infusing that with Bela Lugosi's turn in 1932's White Zombie and maintain that for a television audience. I don't think it holds up quite as well as another sort of blending of genres, another one that I've covered on this channel from 1971. It's the horror western Black Noon. However, the one tenuous thread is that both of these films feature Ray Milland. I guess he was just all over the map in made-for-TV movies in the 70s. This might be one of those films that if you recall it being particularly effective when you were younger, yeah, it's going to seem a little bit dated. Now, there are some moments that are still incredibly effective. Reggie Nalder plays an antique dealer named Perdido who is resurrected by the mysterious Varric as part of his plan to rule the world using his dead, quote, children, as he calls them, just to do his bidding. Nalder, of course, would go on to play Mr. Barlow in the very classic miniseries Salem's Lot in 1979, and so he easily achieves the scariest bits by rising from a coffin and shambling forward to kill Don Drake. But the images of Don's brother Ralph lurking in the fog, the empty grave of his brother while Don is attacked, one of the zombies bursting into flames while Varric uses a blowtorch on her doll's likeness, reducing her down to a pile of bits, and frankly, even the finale in an old warehouse are all nice, creepy moments. Ralph Meeker turns up as a Chicago police lieutenant. You have Joan Blondell, who had a great cameo in Grease just a few years later, and also James McKesson. They all co-star. I also must mention Jerry Douglas, who plays Ralph, the wrongly executed guy blamed for his wife's death. Douglas would spend 25 years on the soap opera The Young and the Restless, playing their patriarch, John Abbott. If you're interested in exploring this film further, it's available for viewing different platforms. Certainly it can be found on YouTube or other streaming services specializing in vintage television movies. It's a tough one because I can't really recommend it in its entirety. The movie doesn't always hold together. It's a fun, interesting time, but again, I'm not sure that all of it was completely thought through. For example, the ending has the sort of typical switcheroo where the corpses are all gone in a way too brief span of time to seem believable. So our hero is left trying to defend what he saw to the police, who don't really buy it. Or there's a convenient kind of deathbed confession, a character who's run over and then is able to tell right at the very end, so it clears Ralph and you realize that, yeah, he was innocent all along. Or the security guard who bears the voodoo mark on his palm. He's still functioning at the end of the film, even though Varric is defeated, causing all of those that he raised from the dead to return to a sort of true death. So why is the security guard still wandering around unless maybe he was raised by a different voodoo master? Again, it's a little bit confusing. It's all the bits that never quite come together and leave you speculating, but there are certainly scenes that are still effective and they work super well. It's a nifty little made-for-TV movie. It tries something very different. Okay, some of the actors might not be the best fit for their roles here, but, and yeah, there's some lack of character motivation, but it's not a waste of time, and it's one that still features a really interesting premise. You've got a nice blending of genres and a few moments that are genuinely creepy. So I hope you go check it out. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this film. Until next time, everybody, stay curious and stay scared.